Basically, my father was our coach. He was a very regimented guy. Really, Haroon was the inspiration for us. You know, Haroon was the youngest tennis player in the history of Pakistan, winning the national championship at the age of 15. One of the reasons he lost that match, we had a twin brother, Haroon, a twin brother, okay? A month before that, he died in Chicago. His goal was to be the top 10 player in the world. And at the top of the peak, when he was trying to achieve that goal and coming very near to the goal, he went in depression, man. I couldn't help it.
Haroon Rahim. Haroon Rahim was a star ex-Pakistan #1 and also at the top in Asia. Rahim was the youngest player, aged 15 years, to play for Pakistan in the Davis Cup. Haroon in the men's single reached the highest ranking on ATP by a Pakistani. He, at one time, was ranked 44 in July 1977. He spurred the UCLA team to win with Jeff Brojak and Jimmy Connors in 1970-71 and was 1971 NCAA double champions with Jeff Brovier. Rahim won 2 ATP titles, the first at the Little Rock against the former Wimbledon runner-up Alex Matrebely of Soviet Union, and second at Cleveland versus the former record holder of the fastest serve, Australian Colin Dibley, both in 1976.
My father was a civil engineer, and he worked for the Pakistan Railroads.
Okay.
And so my whole journey in tennis started when we moved from one place in Lahore to a place called Mir Gardens, which was dedicated to all the railway officers. And there were about 50 bungalows over there. And they had a beautiful tennis club there within walking distance, okay?
Yeah.
This I'm talking about when I was 12 years old, 11 years old. And that is where our really journey began with Haroon and with my sister Shanaz and my brother Zulfikar.
Yeah.
We are the four of the siblings who were coached by my father. So I was one of them. And Mir Gardens, a railway colony with a beautiful tennis setting, was just an ideal place for us. It was walking distance from our house. We just walked there. And basically, my father was our coach. He was a very regimented guy. He had his way of teaching, his way of disciplining people. And so his two things were, he had 4 commandments in the game of tennis, which was the foundation of our learning process. And then his next thing was, practice those commandments before you go to school, sunrise, get up, go to the courts, and he will take us there and coach us there, okay? Now, Haroon was the first one to get up in the morning, and he was all enthusiastic about it. And he was going there. But myself, Shanaz, and Zulfi, we were dragging. We really didn't want to get up. We were, I know my father was going to coach us, but we were still dragging. We didn't want to do it. So one day we were sitting down on our dining table, and my father said to myself, Shanaz, and Zulfi, why do you guys have a hard time getting up in the morning? And Haroon was 10 years old at that time. And he said, Dad, can I say something? And he said, yeah. It's not really their fault. if they go to bed like I do at 8 o'clock at night, they won't have a problem.
Yeah.
And my father nodded, smiled, and I said, well, let's try that, okay?
Yeah.
And by God, that after a few weeks, that worked. And we were not tired, irritable in the mornings,
Yeah.
and we were all ready to go. So, a 10-year-old kid, giving us, my father was the coach,
Yeah.
but really, Haroon was the inspiration for us,
Yeah.
Although he looking up to us, we were looking up to him. So the idea of getting up, going to bed early, common sense, and you don't get, and you go before you go to school, sunrise, you're playing tennis, being coached, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
In the times when we weren't going to bed early, we were getting up late.
Yeah.
Haroon will take a bucket of balls, and he will walk by himself to the courts, and did his own practice and everything, serving by himself and feeding the balls by himself and learning my father's 4 commandments, which I will talk about it in a minute, okay?
Yeah.
And then it became easier for us. So we were now going as a group of kids, okay? 4 kids going there and practicing, okay? So it became much efficient, okay? Now the 4 commandments my father taught us.
Yeah.
The commandment number 1, he said, this doesn't just apply to tennis. It applies to any sport. And that's so true. Because you see any athlete, when they're performing, when they're ready to play, or whether they're ready to catch a baseball, or whether they're hitting a tennis ball, what is the first thing you notice at them? They are in an athletic position.
Yeah.
They're not standing, glouching, okay, looking up in the sky. They are in an athletic position.
Yeah.
And what you do in that athletic position is very, very important. What is your thinking process in that athletic position is very, very important, he said. He said, you are tracking the ball, like in tennis, from your opponent's racket, okay? And you're reacting to that, see which side of the is coming to my backhand side or to my forehand side. And then 1 second you buy the extra time is huge. So you can get to the ball in time, get settled down, okay? And then you are going to not make any unforced errors because you're there, ready, because you tracked the ball before even crossed the net. So that's where your attentions are as you're receiving a ball.
Right.
And then when you are actually there to hit the ball and you have to be there on time, he said, then comes the 3rd commandment. The 3rd commandment is you never ever hit the ball in the net. What chance do you have if you hit the ball over in the net? In the net? 0. If the ball goes over the net, what chance do you have? 50-50. Which one will you take? I'll naturally take the 50-50.
Right.
He said, but also, while you're hitting the ball over the net, you have to hit with a purpose. He said, you got to make your opponent move. And he said that, I'm going to tell you something. If you want to win your way to Wimbledon, you got to keep your opponent on the run. That means that if you're hitting a ball to him in one corner, don't repeat that. Hit to the other side. Because his chances to make a mistake is on the run, not standing and settling down, okay? And those things are very common sense things, okay? But they're not really drilled in a good athlete. They're not really drilled in. The time of finding which side the ball is coming to your body and reaching there on time, and you'll be able to hit the ball more effectively as opposed to reaching there late and you are not going to do that, okay? So those are the things he really wanted us to practice, work on it. There were other things, the mechanics, how to hit the ball, how to hold the racket and all this stuff. So those things will all come, but these are things you want to drill in your head, okay? So always hit the ball away from your opponent while you're hitting it over the net, okay? That way the opponent is going to move. The chances when opponent makes a mistake is always on the run, okay? Not standing still, not settle down, okay? And the 4th commandment was that you got to after you hit that ball over the net, away from your opponent, you got to recover. Means go back to your position again, get into the athletic stance again, and what do you think we should do at that time? Repeat that process over and over again. Okay? And we started to practice that, okay, every day in the thing. And there were time when my father wasn't there, and we 4 kids were over there, okay? And we tried to goof off stuff, okay? Myself, Shanaz, and Zulfi, older ones. But Haroon was all into it, okay? And he will remind us, okay, when he was feeding the ball, hey, you're losing the first commandment. You're not even watching the ball where it's coming from, okay? And you're reaching the ball late. Let's not do that, guy. Let's try to pay attention to that, okay? We want you to have that as a instinct for you, okay? Not something you want to think about. It's something has to be a muscle memory for you. Okay? Next time, you reach the ball, okay? And you hit the ball in the net. What did you do wrong? What was the commandment says? Never hit the ball in the net. Why? Because you have more chances, 50-50 chance the ball goes over the net. And then, hitting the ball away from the opponent. What did Dad say? He said, if you want to win your way to Wimbledon, you keep the opponent on the run. Okay? And what do you do on the third commandment? Okay, you recover. You go back and repeat the process. Okay? So really a 10-year-old kid telling his older siblings how to play, how to repeat the process over and over again to become better. Okay? To us, my father was the inspiration. My father was the coach. But he was really who inspired us, okay? We were kind of amazed, like the little kid is telling us, and reminding us. And he's so dedicated to the things. Okay? He's so respectful to his father, trying to say, hey, listen, let's not do other things, okay? So we really looked up to him, a 10-year-old kid, how to make those 4 commandments as muscle memory for us, okay? He was to us like a little Messiah, sending a message, okay, from Moses, who was my father, who had those commandments, okay? So he actually was telling us over and over again how important those things are. And by God, as time went on, they paid a lot of dividends. In the next few months, year, Zulfikar won the national championship of Pakistan. Shanaz won the national championship of Pakistan. This is from my father's coaching and his inspiration. Okay? I won the national junior championship. The hard court, the grass court, the clay court, beating Munawar Iqbal, Saeed Mir, who were now later on became really good players also. Okay? So we really got all the 4 commandments in our system, okay, like a second thought, okay, boom, not second thought, first thought, boom. We did that in an instinct, okay. It was a muscle memory, and it was because of our little brother, Haroon. Okay. What happened to Haroon during the time Shanaz won the national championship, Zulfi won the national championship, and I won the national junior championship? Haroon was the youngest tennis player in the history of Pakistan, winning the national championship at the age of 15. He was the youngest player in Pakistan to play Davis Cup for the Pakistan and win his tie match. So those were his rewards, okay? Those were his things he won. So all 4 of us, with our father's coaching and help with those commandments and early rising, okay? But again, looking back at that, if the conversation on the table, when my father asked us a question, why aren't you not getting up early in the morning? And Haroon interrupted and said, a simple thing, that if they go to bed early, they'll get up early. It seemed like what a big deal. That was a huge thing that made us really don't feel tired and in the morning and stuff and go to the courts, okay? also there were times when he made the game very interesting, okay? So he will put two cones over there, okay, across the court, okay? And he'll feed us the ball, okay? And he said, let me see how you do that, okay? So he said, where are your eyes right now? Well, it should be at the racket. There's no racket there across the court, okay? Where am I standing? He will say. He's standing at the net. So where are your eyes? Should be at my hand. That's where the racket is, okay? So now from here, I want you to figure out, track the ball, which side of the body is going to come to, okay? So I will go like this. They will react like this, but I won't throw the ball. I will go this way. They react to that, but I won't throw the ball, okay? You know this now. You're understanding it now, okay? So now you're going to get to the ball early, so you won't make a mistake. Now when you reach the ball now let's see you do that. Reach the ball, you're all there on time. You have plenty of time to settle down. What are you, when you hit the ball, what were you thinking? I was thinking of hitting the ball over the net. I was thinking about hitting the ball with a purpose, to make the opponent run. And what did Dad say about that? I don't remember. To win your way to Wimbledon, keep your opponent on the run. Okay, now if you've done that, what's the next commandment? The next commandment is recover, go back to where you were, and repeat the process. Okay? So he actually put cones over there as your opponent, okay? And he made us hit the ball to one cone, but don't hit back to the other cone again, go to the next cone, okay? So things like that really was the foundation of our learning process, okay? But who really made us, my father was the one who came up with all the ideas and stuff like that, but Haroon, our younger brother, was the one who inspired us, okay? We had games going on. Let's see who hit more cones today, okay? We had competition among ourselves, okay? And guess who will always win? Haroon. But he said to us, you know what, guys? Don't get discouraged. You know why? Because while you guys were sleeping and I went to the courts with a bucket of balls, I was practicing that. So I had a head start. I had a head start of months before you guys even start to do that. So don't get discouraged. I bet you're going to catch up with me when we are doing this now. And a few months later, we did catch up with him. So he told us not to be discouraged, okay? So you got to work hard. So you got our habits, the hard work, the love for the game of tennis, okay? The dedication, okay? His respect from our father, learning, and his message from our father to us, repeating it over and over again, which made us very good tennis player. A lot of dividends. Made him a good tennis player, okay? So that was basically our background in Pakistan, okay? And then from there, going to America was the next thing, okay? I didn't mention then, since you said you wanted to know about when did I learn how to play tennis. My father actually coached my older brothers, okay? First, okay? Before we even touched a tennis racket, okay? And my older brothers, Naseem and Naeem, there was a big age difference. We have 15 brothers and sisters. So the age gap is 30 years. 30 years between us, okay? So naturally, we were too young to learn, so he was coaching them. He made them, I don't recall that much about how he taught them because I was too young at that time. The only thing I recall is going and watching them playing some matches, and they were nationally ranked and everything, okay? Naseem got a scholarship. He went to America. He was the first one to go to America, okay? Naeem kept playing, and then he got married and he retired, okay? So my father was basically done with them, okay? Then we moved to Muir Gardens, you know, the club nearby and all the stuff. That's when he took us over, okay? So I just want to kind of remind that that's what happened. That's how he came to us, okay? And then I talked about the dividends of my father's coaching, my brother's inspiration to us, and always repeating the message from my father to us, you know, made us what we did in Pakistan, okay? And then from there, our next journey was to America. Zulfi got a scholarship. Zulfikar, I call him. Zulfi's nickname.
Yeah.
At Clemson. That's my older brother. Naseem went, okay? So he went there, okay? Played number one for the team. Played really well. And was on the tour. I got a scholarship there. I played number one over there, okay? And did fair well, very good, won tournaments and stuff like that, but not at the level of Haroon, okay? My Shanaz, after winning the national championship, she got married to a gentleman by the name of Mushtaq Saigal, who also had gone to the United States and played for North Carolina State on the team. So she got married and she actually retired. She finished there, okay?
Yeah.
Our journey to America was good, was a free tennis scholarship, free education, everything was very, very good. We were very happy with that, okay? But the Haroon also was offered a scholarship at Clemson, all the brothers, okay? So he did come to Clemson for an interview, but during that time, he also went to play a tournament in Los Angeles. And while playing a tournament, he ended up, as a small young kid still, winning the tournament, beating Pancho Gonzalez, one of the legend of tennis, okay? And at that particular time, the UCLA coach, the University of California, Los Angeles coach was there. And he talked to Haroon and said, hey, I want you to come on a scholarship to UCLA. Okay? So he called me and I told the coach, Clemson coach, who was kind of upset a little bit, but he said, you know what, I will tell him to go there. Because UCLA was the prime tennis university. And that is where Haroon's journey really started as a tennis pro. He played at UCLA in 71 and 70 and 71. Same year, Jimmy Connors, a great tennis player. Actually, Jimmy was from St. Louis. No, I don't think so. Jimmy Connors was number one player in the world, afterwards. They won the NCAA championship. Actually, I have those plaques with me here. And I can show you that later on. And he won the doubles championship. He lost the semifinal of singles. And then during his tenure at UCLA, he also won the United States Amateur Grass Court Championship. Okay? And then he turned pro. Okay? Because you cannot be a pro playing college tennis. Okay? He turned pro, Jimmy Connors turned pro. And he went on a tour. And his first match, it's called the ATP, Association of Tennis Professional, okay? You play those matches and you get certain number of points, and then your world ranking is based on those points, okay? His first tournament he won was in Cleveland International tournament. He beat Alex Metervili there, the Russian number one player, who was also Wimbledon's finalist, okay? So he beat him, and he earned a lot of points over there, okay? His second tournament, I happened to be there, okay? By the way, in the first tournament, he called me when he reached the finals, okay? And I said, remembering those 4 commandments? He said, believe me or not, if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be in the finals, okay? I said, don't forget in the finals now, okay? Keep it going, okay? This was on the phone conversation with him. His second tournament he won was in Arkansas International, where the field of top players in the world participated in it, okay? And I was there. I watched all his matches. The top players from India, Amrit Raj brothers, Vijay and Anand Amrit Raj brothers were there, okay, playing in the tournament. And guess what? He reached the finals. And he won the tournament, okay? And before the tournament, me and him sat in the locker room and we were talking about, got to concentrate on our commandments, okay? Those are the most important things, okay? and earned more points. Okay. Then he played a tournament where the U.S. amateurs. Okay, he won that one. I talked about that before. Then he played another tournament. We played Manuel Orantes. Okay, Manuel Orantes was the French Open champion. This is a major tournament, Open champion, and he lost to him in the finals. Okay, in a very close match. I think one of the reasons he lost that match was we had a twin brother, Haroon, twin brother. Okay, a month before that, he died in Chicago. Okay, and I think that affected him. That affected him quite a bit. Okay, and in the later stages, he also got married to Shelley Waldman. You know, she modeled for different companies, and they have good marriage, happy and everything. But traveling with them, I traveled with them one time, and wasn't the best of the experience because he had to play a match the next day, a very important match. We were in Baltimore at that time, I think, and he beat Vitas Gerulaitis, one of the. See, all these names may not mean much to you, but to the tennis world, they say, "Wow, Vitas Gerulaitis he beat." Okay, and then he was supposed to play Ilir Nastase in the finals. Okay, well, I was living next the hotel room next to him and his wife, and they were fighting, arguing about things. Okay. And finally, I got up. It's 2:00 in the morning, and his match was at 12 in the afternoon. And I finally knocked at the door. I said, "Guy, you need to go to sleep, buddy. You know, you can't. And believe me, if he had won that match, Ilir Nastase of Romania, who was the #1 player in the world at that time, okay, he would have achieved his dream. He wanted to be a top 10 player in the world, okay, and he was getting there. He lost a very close match because he was tired. I could tell he had not the demeanor. I didn't see his athletic position. I didn't see him reacting to the ball coming out of opponent's racket. Okay, I didn't see him reaching the ball on time. I didn't see him hitting the balls over the net with a meaning. Okay, so he wasn't there. You know, the 4 commandments weren't there, and he lost that match. If he had won that match, wow, he would have been top 10. Unfortunately, he lost. But his ranking was in 34 in the world in 1977. And there is a lot of speculation about Haroon's disappearance. What did he disappear? Why did he disappear? What happened to him, okay? And I know the true story about it, okay? And I really want to say that to the tennis world back home. His demise in tennis, decline in tennis, was not really because his brother died. Yes, it affected him in matches. His decline in tennis was not because he finally got divorced with his wife, okay? Yes, it affected in his matches. His decline in tennis was back in 1977, just when he got his world rank 34, okay? He was playing a tournament in Washington, D.C., where he fell and tore his ankle. Completely torn his ankle, okay? He called me then, told me that, and then he said he's going to have a surgery in Washington, D.C., and I said, good. He's a good doctor and blah, blah, blah. Everything was good. So he had a surgery. And after his rehab, he went back to play tennis and he could not move laterally at all. So the surgery was not the best of the surgery. Okay, the doctor performed his surgery based on that, how he's going to live his normal life. Can he walk correctly and can he do normal things in life? But he didn't perform on the basis that he's going to be a tennis player. He has to move, he has to run. So whatever he did with the ligaments, it wasn't done right. And in 77, that's when he called me. He said, I want to come and stay with you. I don't feel right, okay? And he came, and I was in Seattle at that time. He came and he stayed with me. And those days were really stressful for me, for my wife, and for him. Because he wanted to compete. He wanted to achieve his goal of being the top 10 in the world, okay? But now, with his ankle, we said, let's try in my club. Let's try to play tennis. He couldn't move. He was done, like a trophy horse. What happens to the horse when his leg is gone? They shoot him. It's gone. He's finished, okay? And that's the way he was feeling like, okay? He was going like to a point where he was just like, is worth living anymore. And I said, come on, man. Remember you taught us those commandments, inspired us what Father said? Why don't you teach tennis? You don't have to run there. You can teach tennis, okay? He said, okay. So he tried teaching at my club a little bit, okay? But I said, come home. And me and my wife are sleeping. And the next thing we know, we open our eyes. He's standing in our room, standing there, okay? And those were nightmarish days for us, okay? And because he was not there, all here, okay? And then I sat down with him one day. I said to him, what do you want to do? He was reading a bunch of different books of different religions, and Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, all the different things, okay? But somebody put in his head that this guy, Hare Krishna, you remember him? Mm-hmm. Hare Krishna, he was at that time in Portland. Mm-hmm. He said, a lot of people go to him and they get cured. They can leave the things they love the most, and if they cannot do any more, he can really help you psychologically find other things which you can fulfill your life with, okay? I didn't believe in that, okay? It's like I respect all the religions and everything, but I didn't believe that he can do it, because if you can't move, and if he wants to play tennis, he doesn't want to teach tennis. I begged him to do that. He doesn't want to do that. He just simply wanted to find something which can fulfill that love of tennis or competition for something else, okay? So he said, I'm going to try Rajneesh. Well, I couldn't stop him, okay? Rajneesh at that time had moved to India, Pune, okay? I think they kicked him out of Portland and he went to India. Remember those guys with orange? That was Rajneesh. So they moved to India. So he flew to India, okay? And then he called me from there. He wanted me to send him some money, which I did. And that was the last time I talked to him, back in 77. Yeah. And I've never talked to him again. I've never seen him again. What I heard from my sisters, that he came to Pakistan, knocked at the door, and he was wearing rugged clothes, no shoes on, okay? And they asked him, what are you doing? What's wrong? He kind of stayed with them for a while, had same experience like I had, and then he disappeared, okay? And then after that, I had no connection with him. My sisters had no connection. Nobody had a connection with him, okay? My friends are from India, a couple of my friends who were tennis players, Banu Nuna and Srini Nuna, and they actually went there, Pune, tried to look for him. He wasn't there, So all these things about Haroon's decline was due to the fact that he tore his ankle. He loved the game so much that he wanted to continue to play. His goal was to be the top 10 player in the world. And at the top of the peak, when he was trying to achieve that goal and coming very near to the goal, he went in depression, man. And I couldn't help it. 'Cause- And really, that's the end of the story. You know, I think about him, but I wish I could have done more. I wish I could have tied him down, trying to convince him more, you know. So Adeel asked me that he wanted to know what actually happened to Haroon, why was in the decline, what was demise was his brother dying, getting divorced, all those things, yes, did affect him. But the real story was I was with, in the days when he tore his ankle, I was with him, he lived with me. And that's what I want them to know. You know, you think about the memories, our memories were really good when my father was coaching us. And how me, myself, Shanaz and Zulfi, Haroon transformed us into, you know, listening to our dad, you know, and make a meaning out of that. And like a watch guard, when my dad wasn't there, he was there, making sure that we are. And believe me, if he hadn't done that, we wouldn't have had that thing in our head about those commandments. And that's what, you know, really made us what we are. You know, I use those commandments today when I teach pickleball. You know, I talk to the people and they work so good, amazing how good. Right away they become instantly start rallying the ball back and forth. Okay, when they reach the ball on time and when they're watching the ball, hit the ball with purpose and all, it's much easier. You know, but they're so simple. Some of those people are like me and Zulfi and Shanaz. You know, they can ignore it, even my teaching. Okay, but the people who are like Haroon, you know, who understand, wow, you know, I'm paying this guy $80 an hour for a private lesson. Okay, well, I want to know how to hit a top spin, how to hit a back. Anything you do, you have to apply those 4 commandments to it. Mechanics are different than those 4 thinking process. Okay, it's a different. So, you know, people really want, the people who are the Haroon type really understand that and they have excelled. And the people who were like me and Zulfi and Shanaz in the beginning, you know, till we got transformed, okay, they still don't, you know, it's too simple. I'm, you know, paying you $80 to show me, you know, get ready position, watching the ball, opponent's paddle, you know. Some people who are serious about it, they take it. And I really want the youth, the youngsters in Pakistan, okay, who haven't heard about Haroon, because it's been, you know, decades, okay, is to learn about him, what he did, his commandments, my father's commandment teaching, okay, and maybe they then look up to him as a model. The serious ones who can improve in the game of tennis through that thinking process, okay, are going to thank him. And I think that he should be really, that's what Adeel is trying to do, is to try to promote among the youngsters his name and his thinking process and how he became, you know, became at that level. Okay? And that's what he's trying to promote. Okay? Hoping that this video with you, Said, will be a start.